Hello everybody, welcome to another Q&A. Yeah, I'm going to try and... I mucked around with the times a bit. I stuck it out at like 6 o'clock because, if I'm honest, everyone says, 6 o'clock, that's the time you want to stick the videos out because that's when you get the most views and all that kind of stuff. Didn't really work. You know, I think it was better the way it was before. Having said that, to put it out at 6:30 on a Sunday morning means I've got to get it done on a Saturday. And I don't always have time to get it done on Saturday. Like today, we've got a new driver starting. One of our old drivers has left. Bless him, Gordon. We wish you the best of luck. He's got to have operation. And the quack's turned around and said, yeah, when this is over, it's sort of HGV's over for you. So, but what's going to work out? In fairness, he's in his 60s. He's going to retire, and he wants to build like little. He makes these lovely crafty tables. If he's got a website there, I'll try and do a link if I can. And he makes crafty tables and clocks and candle holders and all that kind of stuff. Nice. He looks good, like, you know. And he said, well, look. We said, well, if one of the drivers is on holiday, or if I need holiday, or someone's off sick for a day or for a week, he may be fill in, which is dead handy for us, because to have a truck off the road costs, the truck brings in, and ain't profit, brings in, on average, if you get it right, about 500 quid a day. So to have, if someone goes on holiday for a week, we're down 2.5k. But if I can get Gordon in to fill in, lovely. So we'll see how it pans out. And Gordon, if you don't come, you know, don't work out for you, we wish you the best of luck. It's afternoon, by the way. It was my father-in-law's birthday last night, so I'm on the alcohol parachute. That's kind of rosé. Normally drink red or beer, but after a heavy night, rosé seems to soften the blow. Anyway, enough about that. So, what we got today? So, yes, I'm going to try and bang these out probably about 10:30. Let's say 10 o'clock. Let's be brave. We're going to 10 o'clock on a Sunday morning, which means I've still got, because I wake up early, because I'm always up early. I'm normally up about 6 till 10. If I can't get it done on a Saturday, it gives me Sunday morning to bang it out as well. Gives me a little bit more lean time, and it also means, you know, who wants to be watching? Let's face it, 6 o'clock on a Sunday night. That's a long daytime of the soul, isn't it? Really, that's pop pom pom pom. I think to work tomorrow, so yeah, I'm going to put it out a bit earlier. Right, so on to it. I did one recently. Can't get me truck down there. It was they send us to these places with no regard of whether when you get, and when I got there, the bloke said, we keep telling them you can't get a lorry in here, but they keep sending lorries, because it's like, I suppose on one side it's like, you know, it was like 8 pallets and it weighed about 4 ton, so it's got to go in a lorry. On the other side, the lorry doesn't actually go in the hole. So I think the people are right will say the lorry doesn't go in the hole. What they should do is either send a lorry down there to near there, and then have like a Luton sitting on site so we can ferry the pallets off the lorry onto the Luton backwards and forwards. It's a pain, but it's the way you've got to do it. Or just send it on multiple Lutons. Because if you can't fit a truck in the end, all you're going to do is drive down there, ring the firm and go, can't get this truck in here, and then drive it back again. Because if you can't get it in, you can't deliver it. And what happened was, I had to pull up in front of the entrance. I blocked a guy's car in, and I went and I had to walk down. I had to walk down. It's like probably at 300 yards to the office and talk to the lady office. And when I came back, the guy said, "Yeah, you've blocked my car in. My wife says get out in the other car now." And I went, "I'm so sorry." Oh, you know, you've got to be polite. I'll come to the story about it. Be polite. And I'm so sorry. You know, all this. And in the end, I went, that car's moved now, because there was a car there. Obviously, his wife taking the car. I went, I could almost get my truck in there. He said, I'll see you in. What a nice guy. Yeah, as Van on the Run says, fair play to the bloke. There are good people out there. I've always said, if you go in with that, you might meet that. You might meet that. But if you keep going with that, you might meet that. If you go in with that, you can never go back to that. You've had it. So go in, be polite, be, you know, nice, sort of try to talk, try to make people smile, try and get them to understand your side of things. It goes a long way. Nicholas Hardy says about the guy who backed me in, what a hero. He said, no wonder you're always busy, and a can-do cheerful attitude will always pay in spades. Right, give me an example. Friday, last thing, I had a pickup, and I know I'll see it on the pickup details, because I'd had to deliver in Nottingham, and I pick up kind of Sheffield way back to Bedford. Lovely. The only thing is at a 5:30 booking time. I'm like, it's Friday afternoon, and I was going to be back there. It's B&M's distribution centre in Bedford, MK42, and I got there at 2:30. Now you get away with 4:30, but 2:30, no. I managed to get through the gate, which was lucky. I've got the goods in, and I've gone up to the lady. Hello, love. How are you doing? Well, Friday afternoon. What's not to like? Wonderful. I've got 4 pallets for you. And she'll give her the piece of paper. She's looked at the bit of paper, and she's gone, yeah, you got 5 o'clock. I went, I know. I said, I made good time. I said, but it's 4 pallets. And she said, I've got lorries in front of you. And I went, yeah. And you can see them. They were lined up in the parking spaces, and they're Arctics. And I went, yeah, and I bet they've got 26 pallets on them each, haven't they? And she went, one of them's got 52. And I went, look, I said, I've got a tail lift, I've got a pump truck, I will take it off myself, I will do anything that will make your life easier if you'll get these pallets off me. I said, I understand you've got your system, and if I have to wait, I have to wait. But it's 4 pallets. And she went quiet, and I could see the cogs turning in her head. And then she turned around to the geezer next to her and she said, I'm going to be naughty. Bay 142. And she put me on Bay 142. Now, don't get me wrong, there was only 4 pallets, but I was still probably on there for 20 minutes, half hour, because they take the pallets off and then they have to count the individual boxes. And then when I got back to the yard, there was like back to the goods in, there was 2 or 3 people queuing in front of me, all in the high visibility. And I stood at the back politely, like a nice boy. I don't care, I've been tipped, I'm getting out there. And she looked at the 3 guys in front of me, looked at me and went, 142, here's your keys. Be polite, it goes a long way. Right, enough about me, let's talk about you. What do you think of me? No, seriously. Dartford Tunnel, I did one on Dartford Tunnel. As I say, the best way to go to the Dartford Tunnel is go for the right side of the tunnel. Sometimes they shut the left side of the tunnel to let the petrol tankers through, and if they shut, you can be waiting there 5-10 minutes. It's unnecessary. If you pick right, you'll always get through. HGV Matt says, be aware they're currently closing the right 2 lanes daily from 10 o'clock at night for maintenance. So if you're driving a double decker, as I often do, you won't get through and you can be fined. Left tunnels are 15'9" max, and the right tunnels are 16'6", I believe. That's another thing. If you're in a big vehicle, the right tunnel is higher. Not that it really makes a difference, because I can quite clearly go through both. I'm 3.9 metres. I sail through both. It's not a problem. But the right tunnel is higher, for what it's worth. Steve Campbell says, he said, just so happened I was parked at the Thurrock Hotel after going through the left tunnel tonight. He said the right tunnel was closed, so that backs up what HGV Matt was saying. The real reason for the lights is if an HGV is higher than 15'4", you was about to go. He said the real reason was about to go for the left tunnel. There is a layer barrier which stops at the lights and the left portal and direct the tall HGVs into the DVSA Vosa paddock. Then the traffic for the right tunnel is stopped, so the tall HGV gets spat out across the carriageway to the right tunnel. Tankers can actually have to come off at Dartford on the slip and straight across the roundabout and follow the inspection lane. So it is that thing. Apparently tall vehicles, right, definitely. Tankers don't even get there, straight into the compound so that they can work out getting you through. And Urban Trucker, as usual, he's got more to say on it as well. He said, when I was a kid, I like this story. When I was a kid, my granddad used to take me up the Dartford crossing to watch the bridge being built. This is sweet. It always reminds me of him every time I go over it. The left-hand tunnel is 15'9", the right is 16'6". If I remember right, I think that seems to collaborate what HGV Matt says. Also, both the outside lane tunnels are 7.5 tonne weight limit. Don't forget the crossing. So when you go in a truck, even if you're right tunnel or a left tunnel, you want left-hand lane. Right-hand lane, 7.5 tonnes. No vehicles over 7.5 tonnes, and it's a bit lower, I think. He said, don't forget the crossing is free between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. at night, which is dead handy. When the bridge is shut, the right-hand tunnel becomes a crossing for clockwise traffic. Essex to Kent. The Dartford crossing is not part of the M25. That was interesting. I didn't know that. It's actually the A282. Not all hazardous goods are allowed to be carried through the tunnels. It's worth checking before you get there, but there's no restrictions for ADR loads over the bridge. So if you're carrying hay or straw, it has to be sheeted or covered. There's also a free, I love this, there's a free service for cyclists who want to cross. They have to go to one of the highway agency buildings at either side of the crossing, and a highways officer will take them across the bridge with his bikes in a van. Ah, like a free taxi service. Fabulous. The lovely boys in blue. Adam Connell says, so it wasn't my imagination. The right two lanes really are quicker. I don't know if they're quicker, but there's the possibility that you might get to the left two lanes and the barrier will come down. On the right two lanes, it's less likely. That's all it is. It's playing the odds. TC Services says, been through it twice this week. I had one drop at Purfleet, and today I dropped off at Thurrock Trading Estate. Satnav told me to take the left lane both times. I thought it was more to do with taking the first exit after the tunnel. Satnav will just tell you where Satnav needs to go. You know, when you're on the approach, you're going one way under the water. That's it. Left or right, they both go the same place. Tony S says, life's a gamble, Pete. Left down lane every time for me. Hang on, left lane every time. You won't get fined. Left tunnels are 15'6" max. Right tunnels are 16'6". Again, yeah, we've gone through that one. And Hong Kong Fooey says, expecting France on the other side. France? I was looking for Neverland. I was hoping, I was expecting to see Alice and the Mad Hatter having a cup of tea. And instead I just got Thurrock Services, which was dead handy because I had to put it on break, so that was fine. Right, Wise Guys. There's another one from Nick. Yeah, thanks, mate. Nick the Urban Trucker. He says, Pete, I'm surprised that you don't use Junction 13 Crawley crossing truck stop. We're getting fuel as it's local to you. There are loads of fuel on our blue pumps. They take UK fuels, Key Fuels, and other fuel cards. Well, UK Fuels is the one we've got. We've got BP, Bunker, and UK Fuels. Plus, there's never much of a queue there as it's an unmanned site. No, I bear that, actually. Someone asked a couple of weeks ago, is there much work on the HX for Arctics? And I said, I don't know, I'll put it out there. If you've got a tractor unit and you're looking for traction work, then forget it. Whilst traction work does appear, sometimes it's very rare and it's not worth paying the cost of subscription. You will be better off looking for traction work elsewhere. If you have your own trailer, then yes, Arctic work is there, but not as much as you would think, and I would say probably not enough to put an Arctic on the HX full time. If someone is looking to work using the CX or HX platform as their main source, then the work they'll be looking for will be an 18-ton or a 26-ton rigid curtain side with a tail lift, which is why we run 18 tons with tails. Occasionally, the only advantage you're really going to get, I find, with a 26-ton is the fact you've got an extra metre on the bed, which means sometimes it's 15 pallets and you can only get 14 pallets on an 18-ton, and so it's just, and they can't be stacked, and so it gives you that advantage. Having said that, the difference between turning round a 7.5-ton and an 18-ton, my 7.5-ton would spin around a 6-ton. My 18-ton, I'd almost need an airfield to turn the thing round. I don't know why, but it just seems that much harder to back it round. If you've got a 26-ton, you've got another metre again to play with for the amount of time you're going to get it on jobs, and also the extra weight and the extra fuel. And bear in mind, half the jobs I do are 7.5-ton jobs anyway. I don't know if it's worth going to 26, but you do you. The mileage rates you get for operating 18 tonnes are pretty much the same as an Arctic on the HXCX. Plus, there's more work for rigid vehicles on the HXCX. He said, like your market trader friend Pete. Someone I my mate. It's Darren, well, my cousin actually. He said someone I know had a false floor in his truck. Everything was going well until Customs and Excise found it. Yeah, Darren didn't have a false floor. We built a floor. So when you open the doors, the idea being, because you've got the market poles, which you have to put the stall up, you've either got to put them on the top of the tray, top of the gear, which is a pain. So what you do is you create something. So when you get to work in the morning, you open the back doors and there's a floor with all your poles in. You take your poles out, you build your little tent, you put your thing on if it's raining, then you take the stuff out in the dry. But the thing is, we built it out of wood. It was heavy. And bearing in mind the fact those vans only technically carry, with a tail lift, probably about 850 kilos. By the time you put the false floor and the bars in, the false floor and the bars probably weigh 650 kilos. You can get a box on. Market traders for you. Trucks. Godzilla's is out there running in the truck. He's got it. He's done the leap. He's doing it. So we're going to give you a little update on what's happening to the man here. He says, right, this week, taking it steady, small steps. He says, doing my best to be careful and not mess up. Because this comes back to other people. They're thinking, there's one guy actually, he said he was thinking of starting in either a truck or a van. He's based in Cardiff. I've put my number underneath. Give me a call. 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. Also, I keep saying this, but people don't listen. Don't put it in a messenger. Don't put it in an email. Don't put it, I won't see it. But there's a load of comments, which I got a messenger and I went, and there's like loads of comments on Messenger of people asking me questions. So I might do a kind of Sunday Q&A special where I answer all the questions that came up in the Messenger. If people tune in, they'll get an answer. If not, it might actually, there might be some decent questions on there for other people, but I'll get around to doing it at some stage. Right, where was we? Godzilla's. Try not to mess up. Driving is by far the easiest part, but getting work doesn't seem to be that easy. I've yet to hear from any of my contacts offering me a single job. It'll probably take some time for the word to get out that you're in a lorry. I also need to set the truck up as best as possible. It's a Volvo, so it only has a small cab. You got a sleeper or you just got standard? Or day cab. It's restrictive on overnight stuff. You can only carry without it being in the way all the time. I may get a hot box, but I won't venture further given that there's room for a sleeping bag, a pillow, an overnight bag, and a little more. I'm also struggling with the basics of having a hands-free. I'm on my third phone cradle, as none will stick to where they stay where they're meant to. Right, hands-free, I don't muck around with. I've got my bag here. Hands-free, where are they? I've got a tiny set of headphones. Why can you never find anything in bags? I don't know, women ever find anything in bags. This is good TV, isn't it? It might be my trousers. Yeah, Amazon. About 25 quid. They sit in a little black case. They put the earbuds on. What I do is when the phone rings, I put them out, I stick them in. And then you get ring, and as soon as you hear the ring, and then you answer it. It's the best way because you've got the built. You can hear. You've got the built-in microphone, and when the hands-free is finished, I just click them back in, and then we just do Bluetooth. I've never yet found a hands-free that works as well as headphones. I used to use wired headphones. You just plug it in, but you don't. This is modern. This is 21st century. We don't need them no more. But that's what I do with that one. As for getting the thing to stick on the dashboard, Gorilla Glue. Work out where you want it. Suction cups don't just work. You stick them on and you shouldn't have them on the windscreen. If you got them on the windscreen, the DVSA can pull you over and go, that's an obstruction, that's a hazard. With having you don't have anything on the windscreen. So what I've done with mine is I've got the dashboard, I've got where the phone cradle goes, which sits underneath the view of the windscreen, and then I just sprayed Gorilla Glue and just went bang. You know, it's going to be there forever, or at least until I get rid of the lorry. So that's what I recommend with that one. Where was we? Third cradle won't stick. Meant to. Not only this, but stereo's been swapped out, so there's no hands-free. Like I say, yeah, headphones. I've taken to having it in the cradle and bellowing at it to anyone who calls. Headphones, 25 quid. Amazon, they're brilliant. I also bought a widget that's a hands-free device. Nicely Chinese. I have little faith in it, but here you go. Also, my Chinese sat nav is playing up. It's crashed like Road Lords is my new best friend. Road Lords works very well. I mean, I've got the Z Fold 3. I'll do one on it one day. The difference between, because I can run Waze and Road Lords at the same time. One is very good for traffic, the other is very good for bridges. And Road Lords in a 7.5 ton was a bit Mickey Mouse, but in an 18 ton really does the trick. And I'm very pleased with it because it means I don't have to shell out 400 quid in the TomTom, which I'm still not as 100% convinced is any good. He goes on to say, I go, well, the joys of being a driver now. Not easy to put it in words, Pete. So I had an interesting job yesterday, Midlands to Warrington. Anything south I want. He said, job pings up 40 miles away, going from Widnes to Colville. He said, I wanted that. He said, so I was so excited at the thought of going south, not too far from home. I forgot how many miles was on the job, so I called it and gave him £150. He said the fella couldn't believe his luck. He got 95 miles while I was calling myself an idiot every turn of the wheel. £250 down to £150. Things you've got to bear in mind. The job I did come in south, the one that went to B&M, I give him 250. It was 103 miles, and it was an 18 ton. Now, really, that should have been 300, possibly even 350, but it was going to Bedford, and that was perfect for me. Having said that, it had a booking time for 5:30. If it hadn't had a booking time for 5:30, if it had been delivered ASAP, I dare say I'd have given them 103 miles for 200 quid. Because I got 300 for going up, I'll get 200 for going back. I dropped at 2:30, guaranteed to drop at 2:30 in Bedford, around the corner of my house. Don't beat yourself up about it too much. You'll work it out. You'll get to know how it pans out, what to quote, when to quote. You know, you think it's a backload for me, but it's only a backload for me because I started at 4 and I've tipped. It's still 8 o'clock in the morning. It's not a backload to them. To them, it's a hot shot. I can get real money on that. And then it's like, well, there are 3 jobs to choose from. I can pick and choose. There's that one job I definitely want it. I'm going to go in cheap because if I lose it, I'm going to be kicking myself. Don't beat yourself up, mate. So long roads. I think you're doing very, very well. I know she's got a little channel. He's got a channel out there. I don't tell you what, let's get a man a link. It's got some motorbikes on it. I haven't actually watched it. I don't watch anything, I'm rubbish. But yeah, he's out there. Godzilla's, good luck, my friend. Right. No. I seem to miss a piece of paper. Is that right? Oh no, we're still on track. Homero Morales says, hi mate, do you think it's a good idea to work with a lorry of 16 metres in this business? Because I'm thinking I can do that. I'm not quite sure what he means by 16 metres. Do you mean 16 metres for the entire truck? I mean, my truck has got like an 8-metre bed. That would make the cab like 8 metres long. It's a very long lorry. In my mind, my friend, like I say, I recommend your standard 18-ton, tuck under tail lift, double curtain side. You know, the beds, I think it might be just short of 8 metres, 7 point something metres. 14 standards, €18. That works best for us. You do you. If you want to go and buy an 18-metre truck, if you want to buy a spaceship, you crack on. Let me know how it goes. And Mike finally says, does the LF45 have a digital speedometer available on the dashboard? Could you do a tour of your onboard computer? Mike, if I remember, mate, I will get around to it, but I don't really use the onboard computer much. The only time you ever use the onboard computer is to reset the tyre pressure warning light, which comes on all the time, to tell you that the tyre's low, despite the fact the tyre isn't low. Because it does that in all deaths. They're painful. But yeah, no, the computer just kind of does the thing. So just quickly, we're on to miscellaneous. Amazon, did one on Amazon recently. And Andrew Field says, if you're looking for a few hours a day to make the same, you can make the same or more just delivering pizzas. So he's saying with the Amazon... It's the Amazon Flex, isn't it? Not the Amazon Relay. Flex is the cars. He said, for the money you're going to make delivering 40 parcels in your car, you may as well just deliver pizzas. You'll make the same kind of dough for a lot less grief. So that's worth bearing in mind. White Van Man says, my fuel costs are 15p per mile. My non-fuel costs are about the same. So he's getting 30p a mile. So if you get £1 per mile, your fuel is 25p per mile, then if you get £1 a mile and your fuel is 25p per mile, then your profit is a lot less than 75p per mile. Yeah, you've got to take into account the other factors as well. I would say in a Luton, I was looking at 25p a mile for fuel and probably a 10p a mile for on costs. So, you know, you put yours at 15, even if it's 15p a mile. But then I wouldn't always quote £1 a mile. Sometimes 110, 120, and you've got to bear in mind there's also short jobs. So there might be a job going 15 miles, and you get 70 quid for it. So there is that too. But then a lot of time that's around town, so your fuel isn't. You got to do your bottom line. Work out how much you're doing a week in fuel. Work out how much a tank will get you. Wear, tear, and spares. Work out your insurance. Work out your tax. Get the whole thing in. Divide it by 52. You know what your expenses are for a week. If you are bringing in more than your expenses, then you're in a winner. If you're not, then you're on a loser. Because if your upkeep, if your outgo exceeds your income, then your upkeep will be your downfall. And on that note, and finally, Steve Gamble says BP bunkers can be used at non-BP garages. Yeah, I think they can, but I'm not sure which ones, so I just tend to stick to the BP ones. And what was it? Oh, Nick said, he said, I'm surprised you don't use junction 13 to fill up. The thing about me is, I've got a system where I want the garage to be as close as possible. I hate the ones where they say services and then you pull off and then you go to a roundabout and then you go to another roundabout. Well, there's one near the Sturgio Park, isn't there? And sometimes I think I've done 4 roundabouts here to get the services. What's going on here? Whereas the ones I love are the ones like Newport Pagnell or Northampton. Whereas I'm driving down the motorway, and as I'm driving down the motorway, I look to the left and I can practically see the pump. It literally is like there and there, because I want to spend as little time as possible off route, because that's just the kind of guy I am. And finally, in conclusion, I'm finishing off again with Nick the Urban Trucker. He says, I think Bill should do a testimonial for you, Pete. I think you're right. A shining example of how fantastic Bill's thinks. What a wonderful place the CX is. I'd be interested to read that. I imagine after I cut the swear words out, it would probably be a very short testimonial. That's it. So the Q&A again, which hopefully, like I say, should hit you round about, it's new time of round about 10 o'clock, and I'll try and keep it up, guys. I'll just try and keep it all up. There's a few more. I'm working through my backlog of videos. When I did that job, the one that the one where I moved the concrete blocks around, I spent a lot of time hanging around. So I kind of went through my book and recorded a lot of videos. What you do is you sort of put high-vis on stand over there, put a different hat on stand over there, so it looks like you're doing it at different times. Let's peek behind the velvet curtain there. And because you don't always have time to make the videos, and if you haven't got anything backed up on the camera roll, and you've got a busy week, and you're like, yeah, and I've got to make 2 videos because I haven't done that because I've got to get the guys out. So, but I'm clearing them now. So if you've asked a question and you haven't been answered, it is coming. I'm working on it. And in the meantime, I'm going to go and upload this and then cut the grass. It's a nice day out there. Hope you're well. Take care. Take care.